Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the incredibly dynamic world of front-end development. If you've ever wondered how the internet actually gets built, like how a flat, static design magically transforms into a living, breathing application, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to uncover the invisible architecture behind the screens we stare at every single day, breaking down the tools, the tech, and those incredibly talented teams that make the web work.
Every button you've ever clicked, every page you've ever scrolled, that was a front-end team. I want you to really just think about that for a second. Every seamless checkout process, every gorgeous animation on your favorite app, every intuitive menu. It didn't just appear out of nowhere, right? That was a front-end team taking a vision, taking a specific set of goals, and painstakingly bringing it all to life through code. They are quite literally the bridge between some complex data sitting on a server somewhere and the human beings staring at a glass screen.
So, let's jump right into part one, the web's holy trinity and building the digital house.
To really wrap our heads around how these digital spaces are built, it helps to think of it exactly like building a physical house. First up, you have HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This is your content and structure. It's the framing and the skeleton of our digital house. Next is CSS, or Cascading Style Sheets. CSS takes that bare-bones framing and paints it. It adds the vibrant colors, adjusts the layouts, and basically handles all the interior design. And finally, you've got JavaScript. JavaScript acts as the electricity and the plumbing. It brings the dynamism, the interactivity, those slick drop-down menus, and the pop-ups. Honestly, without JavaScript, your house might look fantastic, but the lights just wouldn't turn on when you flick the switch.
But, building the house is really only half the battle. Thanks to the styling power of CSS, front-end developers use a totally vital technique called responsive design. This is the practice of making sure our digital house looks absolutely flawless and functions perfectly no matter what device you happen to be holding. Think about it. A home page looks completely different on your giant desktop monitor than it does on your tiny smartphone screen. Responsive design is the behind-the-scenes magic that shifts the layout, resizes the images, and moves the buttons around so the user experience is always seamless.
Moving right along to part two, the framework showdown, supercharging your code.
So once a developer actually knows those foundational basics, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they don't just stop there. They power up their workflow. See, professional front-end developers rarely build every single thing from scratch. Instead, they use frameworks and libraries. Think of these as a massive, highly organized toolbox filled with pre-built, professional pieces that are just ready to be snapped into place. I mean, why reinvent the wheel, or in this case, the perfect drop-down menu, when a whole community of brilliant engineers has already built a highly optimized version that you can simply plug right into your project?
For styling, developers lean heavily on CSS frameworks. Instead of writing out every single style rule by hand, which, trust me, can take hours, developers use popular, quick-to-implement CSS frameworks like Bootstrap, Tailwind CSS, Bulma, Materialize, or Semantic UI. These are absolute lifesavers when it comes to time. By using these tools, a front-end developer can instantly add mobile-friendly, standardized, gorgeous designs to their pages. It keeps the code base super clean and drastically speeds up the entire development process.
Now, on the interactive side of things, for those really complex behaviors, we have the JavaScript heavyweights. The big three in the industry right now are React, Angular, and Vue. React has huge industry demand and is actually maintained by Meta. Angular is known for being incredibly robust and powerful, so it's often used in massive enterprise software. And Vue? Well, Vue is loved for being super approachable and highly versatile. Honestly, specializing in just one of these frameworks can entirely launch a developer's career. Companies are constantly on the hunt for engineers who are absolute masters of React or Vue.
All right, let's get into part three, inside the front-end team, where collaboration is magic.
We've talked a lot about the code itself, but writing code doesn't happen in some lonely bubble. Creating a new feature is honestly like an exciting relay race across the entire team. First, the project manager sets the goal and figures out what the client actually needs. Second, the designer takes those goals and crafts a compelling visual concept, usually a static image of what the site should look like. Third, the backend developer builds out the databases and provides the raw data. And finally, the front-end developer takes the designer's picture, hooks it up to the backend developer's data, and brings the whole interactive user interface to life. It's a massive, fantastic team effort.
Which brings us to part four, building for everyone. Polish, performance, and process.
Delivering a really professional web application goes way beyond just making something that looks nice on your own personal computer. A massive, completely non-negotiable part of this polish is accessibility, which is often abbreviated as A11Y. This is the essential practice of making sure absolutely everyone can easily use and navigate a website. And that includes users who have visual impairments and rely on assistive technologies, like screen readers, to browse the internet. A great front-end developer ensures their HTML structure is clean and semantic so that a screen reader can perfectly translate the visual layout into spoken audio, because the web should be a welcoming, usable place for absolutely everyone.
And to manage all of this complex work safely, developers rely heavily on process. Without version control, developing software is honestly a nightmare of terrifying code loss, messy manual rewrites, and constantly accidentally overwriting your teammates' work. But step into the world of version control software like Git, and you suddenly have a virtual time machine. If you make a mistake and break the website, Git lets you instantly undo those errors and roll back to a previous working version. It's a real game changer that allows a whole team of developers to collaborate seamlessly on the exact same code base from anywhere in the world.
So from the HTML skeleton all the way to the JavaScript electricity, you now know the mechanics behind the glass. Every digital world you step into was built by a team just like this. The only question is, with all these tools at your fingertips, what magical digital experience are you going to build first? Let us know down in the comments below. And hey, if you found this breakdown helpful, please don't forget to subscribe for more awesome explainers just like this one. Keep learning, keep building, and we'll see you in the next one.